Welcome to Talksicology, brought to you by Recovery Unplugged, the place where we talk about all things substance abuse, recovery, and mental health, with guests offering varying perspectives and viewpoints. Hosts Joseph Gorordo and Jason Cabello share about their addiction and recovery and other serious subject matter through lighthearted yet candid conversation.
Welcome to another episode of Talksicology, the latest and greatest podcast in the known universe, time, space, and everything on addiction, recovery, and mental health, amongst many other random topics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of them.
My name is Joseph Gorordo. I am your host.
LCDC?
Yeah, I was like, wait. And my amazing sidekick co-host, Mr. Jason Cabello. How you doing, Jason?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You good?
I'm really good.
I haven't seen you since before Christmas, I don't
No,
think.
it's been a while.
Yeah. How was your Christmas?
It was great.
Yeah?
We got to do multiple Christmases just because
Yes.
we had to go. We went out to Dallas-Fort Worth area, and then we had to cancel one, so we came back and then went back the following week. We had a family, an injury in the family, so we had to postpone Christmas at Gabby's mom's house.
Oh.
But it was a great Christmas.
Did you get to go see your mama out in Florida?
No, I went a couple weeks before Christmas. I got to spend a good chunk of like over a week in Florida doing some work, and then
Right on.
I always set my nights and stuff aside to go eat dinner with my mom every night, and yeah, we had some good quality time.
Oh, perfect. What was your favorite gift you got this year?
Favorite gift I got this year? There was a lot of them because Gabby's family is really thoughtful, and most of them are cinema related. So,
Yeah.
Mom, her grandmother got me a Alamo gift card to Alamo.
Ooh, always good.
And then
Always good.
her stepdad got me a year for Mubi, MUBI, which is like a film streaming service. So that stuff always warms my heart.
Yes. Excellent. Good stuff.
Yeah. What about you?
We also do multiple Christmases.
Mm-hmm.
We got my mom, then with her mom, then we do like a thing with her stepdad. I mean her stepdad. With her dad.
With her dad. I got you confused.
So the kids get spoiled rotten.
Right.
But yeah, and as far as favorite gift,
what was this is going to be tough. But what do you think was the most thoughtful gift that you gave?
Oh, the most thoughtful gift I gave.
Target gift card?
I don't know if it was thoughtful, but I was super proud of it. I got my mother-in-law a little wooden gnome that has magnets embedded in it. And he comes with little gnome accessories. So you can decorate him for different holidays throughout the year.
Like a garden gnome?
Yeah, like a garden gnome.
Love those guys.
Yeah, she loves gnomes. And, I did it all by myself, usually Chelsea is the good present picker. And I was like, I found something for Lacey, and I picked it out myself, and I didn't confirm if she would like it with anybody. I just bought it.
So I love Christmas. I'm a fan.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I like Christmas.
Do you think something changes in the atmosphere? Because Christmas has a different kind of feel to it. Even winter, once Christmas is gone, it's a different feel.
Yeah.
Do you think there's something that changes in the atmosphere where people are, for the most part, thinking of others?
Yes.
Yeah? You think it changes the vibe where it's like, until you try to... I got really fucking Florida when I was out there because it was like the week before Christmas.
Yeah.
And Gabby flew out. I'm with my mom and Gabby. We're at a mall in Florida. And I pulled the most Florida parking thing in the world. So I was not in the wrong. So somebody was driving past, saw somebody was pulling out and tried to reverse.
Oh, no.
Then it's like, you passed it.
No, once you pass it, you have forfeited unless there's nobody around.
I missed an accident by like that much because I just did no, sir, not today.
Did you pull out your pocket gator and throw it at him?
Yeah. Flamingo.
No, but I think, I'm not super woo-woo, right? Like I'm not into horoscopes and chakras and all, no, like I'm not into all that stuff. But I do pick up on energy and like feel energy, vibes, whatever you want to call it. Right? And I think that there's definitely like something that happens around Christmas time when just, the majority of people are, either getting to do things that they don't normally get to do, right? Getting to spend time with people they love, spending time thinking about others, that, you can feel it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So I really want to talk about my sourdough.
I see it over there. I want to talk about how you look like you came straight out of a Cypress Hill video.
Who you want to get crazy with this?
Yeah.
Don't you know I'm loco? Cypress Hill. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, viewers at home, Talksies, I have here a small tub of sourdough starter that I am gifting to someone so that they can begin their sourdough journey. What's really cool about this sourdough is it was started by the very first chef at Recovery Unplugged in Austin back in 2016. And the chef after him, Ricardo, he's been on the show, Ricky, shout out Ricky, kept that starter going, and it's the starter that he has at home. And he shared it with me a couple years ago, and I've kept it going. And yeah, it's a legacy.
It's cool. Very cool.
Legacy.
All right.
And now I'm sharing it with other Recovery Unplugged people.
Keep the sourdough going.
Yeah. Shout out to Tim Deering, the original chef for Recovery Unplugged. He's out in Portland, I think, doing some fine dining. That's it. I just want to get my sourdough on the
All right.
thing.
Very cool. Love the sourdough. Love the sourdough.
That's right. I've taken some to you.
Yeah. And enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah. It's very good. Very good stuff. Anyway, should we get to our guest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great guest today. We have, I personally, were you there grand opening at
No.
Nashville?
No, I forget why.
So I got to meet today's guest, day zero.
Day zero, before she even worked at Recovery.
Right. So her first time entering Recovery Unplugged, I believe, was just to help Riley out a little bit.
Yeah.
And get to help things out. Ian Jackson was ED at the time, so got to help Ian out. And yeah, just amazing journey, amazing person. Always, anytime I go to Nashville to do anything, which is usually, so I have the fun uncle job at Recovery Unplugged. Yes. So I get to go travel to different facilities and be like, hey, we're going to film some stuff. We're going to do this and take you out of your
not the creepy uncle.
Your 9 to 5. No, not the creepy uncle. Not the creepy uncle. Yeah. Why'd you even put that out there? Wait, hold on. Now maybe. Is that more creepy uncle look?
Oh, that's super creepy. Yeah, that's a little...
I have the same glasses that there's the meme of where it's like serial killers saw these glasses and said, bet.
Yes.
So, not in no way condoning
creepy uncles.
Creepy uncles or serial killers.
Yes.
At all.
None. No, we do not support creepy uncles or serial killers at Talksicology. And now, nor does Recovery Unplugged, title sponsor of the show, Recovery Unplugged Behavioral Health.
Right. Yeah. Maybe Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, Buffalo Wild Wings.
They might. No, we're not getting in any kind of litigation here. I'm not having it.
I've never been found guilty of slander.
I've never been found guilty of a felony.
Saying that Buffalo Wild Wings might possibly be in favor of creepy uncles is a felony?
No, I said I was just
in general.
Yeah, just
in general.
You brought it up.
Like, wow.
Never convicted.
Okay.
Anywho, today's guest. I love today's guest.
Ooh. Amazing young lady, man. Just
very amazing.
Like kindness.
Yeah.
And recently crowned the new executive director of the latest Recovery Unplugged location to be opening in March of 2024 in South Carolina, without any further ado, we give you Miss Amanda Johnson.
Hello. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy to be here with you guys.
Amanda Johnson.
So calm after that magical transportation.
I know.
You've been magically transported before.
No, so she was snowed in today. Out in Nashville and had to get like shoveled out. And, you know, I called her and she was like, oh shit, are we supposed to be, are we meeting about like the podcast stuff today? And I was like, well, we're actually doing the podcast.
Recording the podcast.
Like,
we don't do meetings. There's no prep on toxicology.
I was like, am I going to be pictured in this? And he was like, yes. And I was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, so Amanda Johnson, now executive director at Recovery Unplugged. New facility, South Carolina.
Yeah.
And yes. Amanda, I met Amanda the first trip during the grand opening in Nashville. And I believe you were working in the kitchen at that point, right?
I was. And I didn't officially work here yet. Riley was still trying to convince me.
She was a stowaway in the kitchen, like Ratatouille, just making but always one of the most pleasant people I've ever met. Just always super nice. Every time I go to Nashville, always warm reception, always down to do whatever, you know, just an all-around great person. So I'm glad to have you on here, Amanda. And it's good to see you.
I'm glad to be here. Yes, always good to see you guys.
And I'm excited because I've met you a bunch of times, but anytime that I'm in Nashville, it's usually like 24 to 48 hours. There's very specific things that need to get done. And Amanda, you're a hard worker from what I see, because I to see you super busy doing something else and no time to hang out. So
yes, I'm usually running around when I'm here. So I don't usually sit and hang.
She made a brief cameo at the Recovery Unplugged leadership meeting in Nashville last week.
Okay.
Yes.
She walked in, handed Riley a brown paper bag of unknown origin.
Oh no.
Whispered something to him and walked right out.
I also almost busted my butt. I don't know if anybody caught that, but I tripped on a plug in the floor.
Oh yes. That happened multiple times throughout the
fell in front of all of you guys.
Good stuff. But I'm so happy you're getting your comeuppance. You're such a hard worker, such like dedication and all that, and it seems like it's paying off. And now you're getting to move to South Carolina. Do you have any connection to South Carolina, or is this all just are you just sort of pioneering out there?
I'm just taking an adventure. I was actually born and raised here in Nashville, so all my family, everyone's here. The opportunity was brought up. My first reaction was, I don't know if I want to leave everyone.
Right.
And then I thought about it and I was like, if I don't take this opportunity, I'm most likely going to regret not knowing what it would have been like, not knowing who I would have grown into, what I would have learned,
right,
the opportunities that would have come from it. So I was like, all right, let's do it.
That's a great.
Me and my dog are going together.
That's cool. Climate is a little bit warmer there too, right? Like your winters won't be as harsh.
Yes, it's right on the coast.
Yeah, because I know we've talked about it before when I've come to Nashville and it's been cold, and I'm like, I love it, and you're like, I'm over it. And I'm like,
I actually like the cold for a little bit,
right?
And then I'm like, okay, like, you know, I've had enough of this, but I've been checking the weather difference because I'm actually flying out there tonight. To find a home, and it's 56 degrees there. It's 10 degrees here.
Right.
So I was like, this is going to be great.
Sounds lovely.
I'm so excited for this.
Where in South Carolina are we doing this? I don't even.
Charleston.
Mm-hmm. Charleston is cool.
Right on.
I spent a lot of time in the Carolinas in my 20s.
Is Myrtle Beach in South Carolina?
Yes.
I think it's Alabama. It is South Carolina?
It's South Carolina. Yeah.
Okay. I know Hilton Head is so Charleston is about 2.5 hours from Savannah, Georgia, and then Hilton Head is like somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff around there. I don't know if I ever even told you about this, but when I was in my mid-20s, I had a job that I was traveling around doing infrared thermography. So I'd go around with an infrared camera and go to all these assembly plants.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And it was I got to do a lot of travel and got to hang out with a lot of cool people because I'd work with engineers and electricians. So it was like a lot of very cool people. And I spent a lot of time in South Carolina and I loved it. People there are super cool. I'm excited that Recovery Unplugged is opening there. And excited to go out and see what Amanda has in store for us to save some fucking lives.
Did y'all know that Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, has some of the highest violent crime rates in the country? Not because it's a super violent city, but they have a very transient homeless population. Homeless people roll through there, I guess, when they're moving up and down the coast, and they do crime.
That's where they decide to while out?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Well, be careful.
I don't know how far Myrtle Beach is from Charleston, but I'll watch
I'm
for
not
that.
sure.
So
we'll go on a road trip next time I come out.
So let's get to know Amanda.
Please.
Amanda. So you said born and raised Nashville. You know, we got to ask you on the show. Are you in recovery? Not in recovery? You're a normie who loves addicts? What's your story?
I'm a normie who loves addicts.
Oh my God.
We're a charming bunch. Easy to love.
Y'all are amazing. Okay?
Ragtag group of misfits.
So I'm assuming Riley knew you from Buffalo Wild Wings, yeah? From the B-Dubs.
So Riley Osborne, Recovery Unplugged, leadership team. He started working in Nashville and then brought a team of people that he knew, Amanda being one of them.
Fun fact, I worked at B-Dubs.
Did you?
I did.
What'd you do there?
I was a server.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a server at the Buffalo Wild Wings in Laredo, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
This episode is brought to us by the fine folks at Buffalo
Wild Wings.
Get your wing on.
I was terrible, though. I was deep in my addiction. Like floating drinks, adding a zero onto tips.
Oh, wow. So what was your restaurant? What was your restaurant shenanigans? How did you get over on shit?
Well, floating drinks. Amanda, you know what floating drinks is, yeah? No? Okay. So floating drinks is where, your first table of the day comes in and they say, we're all getting a soda, right? So you ring up the 4 sodas for them. Now, if it doesn't work so much with credit cards, it's got to be cash.
I know the drill.
They pay you cash. You move those 4 drinks over to a separate new tab because you'll use them again later, and then you close theirs out without that, and you pocket the difference, and then you just float those same 4 sodas all day. Or back in the day on the Oasis system, you would, let's say they left you $1.
It's a fine POS.
Oops, I had an extra zero. It's $10 now. Yeah,
good stuff. We could have a whole episode on how to get over on restaurant
scams. But so you're working at Buffalo Wild Wings. Your buddy Riley leaves, and then he hits you up a certain amount of time later and says, "Come work in this rehab." What is your first thoughts at being offered a job at a rehab?
Y'all are gonna laugh at what my first thoughts were, but so he sits me down before he ever leaves B-Dubs, and he says, "Hey, I'm leaving. I'm going to go work at this place. I'd like you to think about it." I'm like, "Okay, what would I do there?" And he's like, "You'd be one of my chefs." And I'm like, "Okay." And
were you
my
a chef at Buffalo Wild Wings?
I did a little bit of everything there, but I was mainly kitchen.
Okay. All right. So
kitchen was my...
That was yours.
Was my thing.
Okay.
I wasn't a good server. I was really, really bad at it. But I was like, okay, so all I could imagine was this really, really huge kitchen filled with silver stainless products and a whole bunch of just chefs in there with white chef coats and chef hats on.
Like real chefs.
Real chefs.
Some
like
chef
you're going
shit.
to work at Le Cordon Bleu.
Yeah.
Not the school.
And so I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. And he's like, "Oh, you'd be great at it." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know, Riley. I don't know if I can see myself in that environment." So he go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say, so you took a leap of faith.
I don't think she took a leap of faith immediately.
Okay.
I did not. He called me and he said, "Hey, I have all of these people coming from all these different facilities, and I need someone to help me this day. And he said, I know you're off on Wednesdays, because he used to write my manager schedule there.
Oh, like, okay.
You got me. I'm off. I'll do it. Okay. Where do you need me to be?
Did he pay you, or was this a favor?
They paid me.
Okay, good.
That was the day I met you then, when we all came in from
the day you met me.
Oh, okay. I'm part of the story.
Yeah.
Well,
you are.
I was there to witness the story.
You were a vegetarian.
Yeah, still am.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we didn't serve you salmon. I remember that.
Yeah. Every time I would come in, she'd always be like, "We have vegetarian stuff for you today," and blah blah blah. And very, very attentive.
So the day was over. He offered me the job again. I say no. I'm going to just work my way up and be a general manager at Buffalo Wild Wings. That's my current life's goal, you know?
So is that what led to the hesitancy? Was it like, hey, like I'm kind of on a path here at BW's, or was it like, I don't know if I want to work in an addiction rehab, or kind of what was the hesitation there?
So I didn't really know much about addiction at that point. I had known Riley, and I knew Riley was in recovery.
Listen, working at restaurants, you can't help but learn a lot about addiction.
But I see a lot of it.
I had known a lot of people in addiction, but I had never really known people in recovery.
Yeah,
and or working on a better path of life. Working on getting in recovery and turning their lives around. I had only ever known people that were currently in active addiction. Mm-hmm. And so it was a little scary. I was like, I don't really know anything about this. I don't know how to correctly talk to anyone who comes through, or what to say to them, or, how to make them feel better. And he was like, he kept hounding me for about 2 weeks and was like, come on, you'd be great at this. I know you want the job, blah, 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 blah. So finally I was like, all right, I think I'm in. And he said, you think, or you know? And I said, I know, I'm in. And he said, all right, call Kevin at B-Dubs right now and put in your 3 weeks. And I said, okay.
What made you finally decide to make that decision?
I think it was more so me trusting Riley, but also like knowing that he wouldn't bring me to a bad situation, but also knowing that I didn't really want to serve cold beer and chicken wings forever.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that's what I needed to do, because I had dropped out of college not too far before then. And so my career path was then, I didn't have one anymore. So B-Dubs, I'd been there for a few years, and I was like, okay, this is career path. Like, I can do this. I know this. And I just came to the realization that I don't want to serve chicken wings and beer every day for the rest of my life.
I don't care how many lemon pepper wings you give me. It's not worth it anymore. No, you know what they had? The Parmesan garlic at Buffalo Wild Wings.
It sounds like a good sauce.
Fire. So good. Sorry.
I'm not a fan. Mm-mm.
No?
No.
What was your go-to?
A mango habanero, but you fried it again.
Oh, double fried.
After you clean it. Oh, so good.
I might have to go to Buffalo Wild Wings and try that. You know what's real interesting to me? So some of the best employees at Recovery Unplugged have restaurant backgrounds.
I think some of the best employees you'll find in any situation have a service background. Just because the one thing that you will notice about somebody who has not worked in, let's just say, a restaurant specifically, no sense of urgency like you have in a restaurant. You know what I mean? Like that sense of urgency that you have when I still have serving nightmares or kitchen nightmares when I'm like, the tickets just keep coming out and I don't have anything, and like my spatulas are made of rubber bands and like just I can't do anything, and
your hands are mangoes for some reason.
Yeah, and this table's coming in and yelling, and I still have dreams like that.
Oh my God.
But that sense of urgency that you get, that sense of this order just came in, I need to get it done now. Oh shit, I got the order done wrong. The server comes in, he's like, hey man, I messed up this order. Can you please just make this on the fly? And it's just, you have a symbiotic relationship with everybody else in the restaurant, from the host or hostess to the servers. Like everybody's working together for one common goal, and that's to just turn over as many tables as possible, get shit done smoothly.
Yep.
And you don't get that anywhere else.
No, you don't. I think, what is it they say about like, everybody should wait tables at least once in their life.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
My family still gives me shit in the kitchen if I'm cooking, because like I still cook with a sense of urgency. It's like, oh shit, I got 9 things going at once. I'm sweaty by the end of it.
4 burgers all day.
Oh my god. So you start working at Recovery Unplugged in a kitchen, right? So still, very similar to what you were doing, right? Something comfortable. But obviously, in a commercial kitchen like at a restaurant, you never see the customers from the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
You're interacting with the servers, the managers, dishwasher, expo, all those kind of cats. But you're not interacting with the customers. Whereas here at Recovery Unplugged, I'm assuming that's the first time that you're looking at the people whose food you're making, and what was that like? What was it like, getting to know, these clients in recovery?
I actually loved it so much more than I thought I would, because I think there's a sense of fear for anyone who cooks a meal, whether it's a mom, a dad, a spouse, someone in a restaurant serving the food. You're like, do they like it?
Right.
Is it gonna be good? Are they gonna tell you the truth if they don't, so you can make them something else? Or, are they just gonna forcefully eat the food? So I think a matter of serving them the food was a little fearful at first, but getting to know them was so awesome. And as I worked in the kitchen longer and longer, I think the coolest part of it was I wasn't the one I wasn't telling them, go to group, go meet with your therapist, go do this, get out of bed. I wasn't authoritative to them. I was the person they came to eat. And to nourish their body. So I got to build a very different rapport than I think. And I learned it to be true when I moved into my new role here, that other people don't really get to build with the clients because they come to you to just talk, to just hang out, to ask for something random. And you learn so much about them.
Yeah.
They tell you so many pieces of their stories and where they've come from and how they got here, and like their kids who won't speak to them anymore. And you learn so many different things about them that I didn't expect to, but I loved building a rapport with them. I used to get the kitchen clean and stay and play Cards Against Humanity till 11 p.m.
Yeah.
With them. Especially in the beginning when we had a lower census when first opening. So we had 13 to 15 people, and you get to know these people really well.
Right.
You're them all the time. And it was a blast, an absolute blast. And it was just getting to know them has become it's such a special thing to me.
So that kind of staff, let's say the cooks, the techs especially, they do more AMA blocking, I think, than anybody else in the facility. So for those listening, an AMA is when somebody leaves what's called against medical advice. So this means somebody's in for the full leg of treatment and they decide that they want to leave on their own. Because in treatment, it's not jail. The doors are not locked. You could leave whenever you want, and with people with addiction issues, the street calls, and a lot of times I think, people in these positions that talk to the clients more on let's say that the playing field's leveled a little bit. Yeah. The techs are usually there all day cleaning up the cook.
Well, the thing is, like with the kitchen team, right? Like they don't view them as authority figures, right? And there is something very special to be said about like, somebody who's preparing you food, right? There's, like, I don't know, to me, food's really important. It's how I show love. Anytime like a staff member's having a bad day, it's like, come, you want to go get some ice cream?
Right.
Like, let's go, let me feed you in some way or another, right? So I think that really, and even here in Austin, like, if I want to know what's really going on,
who's coupling,
I go talk to the chef and our chef here, Gabe, it's so funny. Somebody was speaking poorly about Gabe. over the weekend. And Gabe walked into work Monday morning. He's like, yeah, man, like 5 of them came and told me immediately because they're so protective.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So, Amanda, do you remember the first time that you took part in maybe getting somebody to like talk them down off the ledge from leaving or something like that?
Oh, I don't know that I remember the first time. But I definitely remember many of times of them coming and just being like, all right, it's time for me to go. And I'm like, where are we going? What are we doing? They're like, oh, I'm going to my mama's house. I'm going to be fine. She's sober. And I'm like,
your mama's going to be so happy when you show up on her doorstep and let her know that you left rehab, broke out of rehab.
You know, and it was just a matter of I don't want to say trick. It's not a trick. I guess my way of doing it per se has always been taking the words that they give to me when I'm building rapport with them or just chatting with them. And, you know, they're like, you know, I've done this so many times. I can't wait to push through this time and change my life and do this. Or, you know, they'll bring up examples of why they're here. And I always like to be like, dude, do you remember when we were talking like a week ago? And you were like, you've done this so many times. Like, this is the time where you're ready to change.
Right.
You're ready to do something different. And they're like, oh shit. Like, I do remember I said that. It doesn't always work that way.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But there were a lot of times where I would start off. I don't know that it always ended with me. You know, I'd shoot them over to someone else and kind of help finish it off. Ian Jackson is the AMA blocking king. So used him a lot, but
I'd imagine you would be good cop in a good cop, bad cop situation for an AMA block.
Yes, I can be bad cop, but I much more prefer to be the good cop.
Yeah.
You know, I think it'd be good to point out to the viewer at home, right, that, you know, the reason why someone would want to AMA can be some of the most ridiculous stuff you've ever heard in your life.
Yeah.
You know, I've had clients want to AMA because they weren't allowed to have coffee after 4:00. I had a gentleman wanting to AMA yesterday because his dog was being watched by his grandparents and they were too frail to walk the dog properly.
That's a good one.
What's the most ridiculous AMA reason you've ever heard?
SoundCloud was going to get shut down, and then the guy had to go and get all of his beats recorded onto
that was here. I remember this.
No, this was in South Florida. But do you remember when SoundCloud was about to get shut down? It was probably like 2017, I believe. But yeah, this guy was just like, listen, man, I'll come back. I just need to go home for 2 days, get my beats off of SoundCloud and record them onto something else.
I had a guy who was trying to be a homeless Snapchat influencer, and his account he had deactivated his account temporarily to go to rehab, and I guess if he didn't retrieve his videos within 30 days, it'd be lost to the ether forever. Yeah. And that was good. Amanda, how about you? Most ridiculous AMA reason?
Oh, I feel like there's been so many. The other night I had a girl who she wanted to leave because her boyfriend couldn't come and pick her up the next day, and his phone was no longer working. It's out of service now. And so she was just going to go get a hotel that night. And I said, why wouldn't you sleep in a bed here and eat food here? She was like, but I don't really have a lot of money. I'm like, okay, you don't have to spend on a hotel, and we can call your friend tomorrow to come get you. And she's like, oh, no. I have to go tonight because me and my dog, you know, and just on and on and on.
Yeah.
This, and we have to do that. And I'm like, you don't.
The longer I explain it, the more it's going to make sense to you as to why I need to leave right now.
But, you know, I got to point out that, like, you know, when people are wanting to leave treatment, it's not really, you know, they're not ridiculous, trivial people, right? You know, in addiction, a lot of people start to use because they want to shut off, you know, some negative feelings, right? Grief, loss, sadness, depression, whatever it may be, right? You know, so you're kind of, you learn to operate within this very narrow spectrum of emotions that whatever your drug you're into allows you to have, right? And so you're used to everything being on, let's just call it volume 4, right? Your whole life's been on a 4 for the last X amount of years. Then you get into treatment, right? Your brain starts to repair itself. You don't have that numbing agent anymore. And you're like a raw exposed nerve ending, right? Like little things seem massive, and discomfort is so magnified that, and you don't have the coping skills to know how to deal with these things. So, your brain is automatically like fight or flight, like run from here,
right?
Go get high.
Is it when I always get the two mixed up, but there's something when it's like your brain functions start coming back normally and firing, but your body still isn't, like, especially with opiate withdrawal, that your body's still kind of like and not feeling great, but your brain is like, let's go, but your body's just.
Yeah, I mean, in post-acute withdrawal, it's all up and down,
right?
So it's just So like, these people aren't being trivial when they're saying like, I want to leave. It's just, they're legitimately experiencing a crisis. Yeah. And even if us logically know that crisis is so small compared to, the consequences of addiction, they just don't have a better way.
Yeah. And I mean, God, how many times have you AMA'd from a treatment center?
I've never AMA'd.
Get the fuck out of here. What kind of addict is this guy?
I sort of AMA'd from the year-long rehab.
Oh, okay, well that's.
I was on a pass, and so I went to this rehab in Mexico, Amanda. That was a year long, and they very strict, and they had punishments, and one of the punishments was called beans, where you would eat boiled beans with salt, just
sounds
plain
like
old
a treat to me,
for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I love beans,
right, for days at a time. Right, not good beans. Like there's no bacon and onion and no, just boiled beans. And I'd gone out on pass because I had a pass privilege, but I knew that when I came back, I was still on beans. And the thought that day of going back to the facility and having a big old bowl of beans for dinner was so just I just couldn't.
Right,
I couldn't. So I left. I showed up at my uncle's store. I had an uncle who owned a shoe store at a mall. So I showed up at his shoe store at the mall and was like, hey,
I'm back, baby.
What's up? So like the very thing I was just talking about, like I did that. Yeah, for sure. And then, it was bad though. The rehab, they were very concerned for me. They were like calling like the local ERs and stuff looking for
I had AMA'd because I had found a loophole, dope fiend in my way into getting Excedrin because there was no caffeine in the place. So I was getting Excedrin and found a way that I could get it like double of what I was supposed to. They found that out. So I AMA'd immediately the second that happened. Yeah. I had no more caffeine. And I was like, fuck that. And then one other time, because I don't eat meat and I required a special diet, state-run or county-run facility didn't have a lot of resources. And first couple times I went, they at least had like veggie burgers and stuff like that. And this time I went and they're like, we've had budget cuts. Like you're getting hot dog buns and cheese. If like you're not going to eat it, I was just like, fuck this, I'm out of here.
So Amanda's clearly never had to AMA.
Right, no.
But so, okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
But you did AMA from the kitchen.
From Buffalo Wild Wings.
Well, no, from the kitchen at Recovery Unplugged, because at some point you make a transition from being in the kitchen to something else. So what was that like? What led to you leaving the kitchen?
I wanted to do more than I don't want to say just work back there because I loved working back there. And I realized, how when you work a job, something always seems greener. Yeah. And then you get into the new job and like, it may be nice, you may love it, but you see how simplistic and how great you had it in your last job.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was the move from the kitchen for me, because sometimes it seemed stressful and crazy and you're making all this food and feeding all these people and doing all these things. But at the same time, I loved every moment of it, which is just a kitchen in general. It's just
Listen, dream job. If I could go do anything else and still be able to like provide for my family, like I would go open a food truck and just cook whatever I wanted every day.
I miss it. I didn't realize how much I would miss it because I did it every day. I cooked, 7 days a week. But I in my spare time, I would go hang out with the nursing department and I'd I'd learn things from our nurse manager and how to take vitals and what our, tapers were and how we loaded and all of that jazz. And I'd hang out with Riley and ask him, hey, can I do anything? Because in between lunch and dinner, I'd be cleaned up. I'd be like, is there any paperwork I can do for you?
Yeah. I assumed that it was something like that. Like you were already doing stuff outside of your, what your role was. And then it just kind of shifted into it.
Yeah. Yeah. It just kind of happened.
So what was your first job out of the kitchen?
Director of operations.
Wow.
That is a
straight to
big
director
fucking leap.
Whoa.
Wow. That's impressive. That is impressive.
How long into your director of ops job before you first were like, man, I should have stayed in the kitchen?
It took me, I don't tell people this very often unless I'm really like, I'll use it sometimes with people that I oversee, to help them understand that you don't just know what you're doing in the first, 3 days. It took me about 8 months to feel like I got this.
Yeah.
Because I knew kitchen well. Maintenance, cool. I have a rock star maintenance person.
Yeah, you do.
Housing it's great, but it's a lot. You've got people 24/7. You've got to make sure they're safe, they're satisfied. Those there's a lot of boxes to check in the housing world.
Mm-hmm.
So it took me about 8 months. And within that 8 months, I was like, man, I could be cooking breakfast now.
Making waffles without a care in the world.
Yeah.
Breakfast was my favorite. We made it to order. We still do every morning, whatever that specific client wants, they get.
Nobody's up during prep. It's just kind of got the world to yourself a little bit.
Loved breakfast. But I quickly learned that once I did kind of get a hang of what I was doing, and, I still grow every single day. I still get knowledge every single day because the reality is we're never going to know it all. But the really cool piece of it was I got to go from influencing the clients in a big way to also influencing other staff members in a big way. So I got to do clients and staff at that point, which was cool. It was cool to be able to lead them, build rapport with them, help them meet goals and point out their strengths and their opportunities so that they can become better, so that they can become more. And I think that was the coolest part overall, was getting to impact more lives on a daily basis.
So knowing the nature of what we do and that not everybody's attempt at recovery is successful.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the first time that there was a client who you had a rapport with who ended up relapsing and overdosing?
Absolutely.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we had this younger client. He was 19 or 20. I have a younger brother that's about 4 years younger than me. So any clients that were kind of in that younger range reminded me of my brother a lot, if they were like kind of quiet, but also like really fun at the same time. And I always didn't care for them more, but I always built, more of a rapport and tried to build them up more than people that were like, oh yeah, I got this. Cause it's usually those younger, like 19, 20-year-old boys that are like, I'm here cause my family's making me,
Right.
And he came back through a couple of times. Each time we had a, different rapport, different talk. He's going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And he died of a fentanyl overdose about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And he had come in a few times and that hit hard because you realize that these people become a part of, for me, I think because I'm not in recovery, it's changed my core values and my perception of things a lot, and how I view the world very, very differently. And it was a big kicker for me when I learned that he had overdosed, that we'd never see him again. And he was so young and wasn't going to get to pursue any of the things that we talked about, it was a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the most challenging things about working in treatment, is that, people start working in treatment because they care about people, right? And then you build relationships with folks, and I think, depending on our personality, right? There's certain clients that, you tend to kind of gravitate towards or build a little bit more rapport with for whatever reason, right? Like they remind you of your brother or whatever. I always end up the clients that are from South Texas always seem to be like my favorites. People. Yeah, those are my favorites. But we work in an industry where, alongside getting to watch some beautiful success stories, I mean, how many people have we had on this podcast that were clients at Recovery Unplugged? How many people, are in director roles now that were clients at one point or another? You were a client at one point, right?
Yes, sir.
That we get to see all this cool stuff, but then we also get, the phone call from the mom or the dad or from, just we hear about these folks who didn't make it,
right?
Who, for whatever reason, couldn't accept the help, couldn't internalize the recovery,
and it doesn't. You don't get desensitized to it. Mm-hmm. I mean, because it happens. I mean, I would say at least once, if not more, a week, you hear of somebody from some facility or somebody who I knew from the 12-step rooms. It's just, it's a constant, feed of loss.
Yeah. And, I will tell you, it wasn't like this 10 years ago. 10 years ago, working in treatment, like maybe once or twice a year, you'd hear about a former client who had passed away.
Right.
And, nowadays it's, almost weekly, maybe not one of our clients dying, but I hear of somebody from somewhere, someone who works at a different treatment center dying. Right. It's just, it's fucking fentanyl.
Yeah.
Fucking fentanyl.
So on the opposite end of the spectrum, what was one of the coolest success stories that you've got to see from somebody that you've met? Just one of the what stands out the most to you?
Dude, we had this one guy who came through mid-50s probably. Really sweet man, loved golf. Came through over 3 years ago. Kind of a one and done. Came in first time, said I'm going to crush it. And he has, and every single month that he hits a new sobriety goal or another month, he brings in like bundt cakes or cookies or something and comes in, gives us all a hug and, tells us how he's doing and how his kids are and how his family is. And I was off for his 3 years, but he brought in this big cake and it said 36 months on it. And I was like, dude, that's phenomenal. Like not only is he 3 years sober and killing it, but he comes back to hang out with us for 10 minutes, once a month.
Does he go to the alumni meetings? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't know. I think he does when he's in town, but he travels a lot.
I think I might have been there when he picked up his 2-year at one of the, because whenever I go to any of the facilities, I always go to the alumni meetings. I like to stay close.
He probably did more so back in the day than he does now. But he was very, very, very active in the community when he first got out.
So, Amanda, as someone who's who's not in recovery, who, you mentioned earlier that like, your worldview has changed and some of your values have changed because of your experience working at Recovery Unplugged, what are some things that you wish more people understood about recovery that you or what are some things that changed about what you thought about addiction and recovery?
That's a great question.
That you'd like to, for people to hear about.
Yeah, I wish people would look at people in addiction more so as a person who deserves to be loved and cared for. I think the stigma is really negative. And I know that there's a lot of things that happen within active addiction that are negative. But I think viewing people in addiction as people that are worth something, that need help but maybe don't know how to get it. Or, I haven't met a bad person come through this facility. Most of them are such good people that are trying their best, and their best looks very different than my best, but they're still actively trying their best to do what they know to do, to take care of themselves and to figure it all out. And And I think that the world gives them a bad rap for trying their best, even though it's a different spectrum than what my best is some days, and some days my best is the same spectrum as theirs. So I think there's a lot of judgment that is there that needs to be pulled away. And just not judging people before you kind of see what it's like to walk in their shoes.
Very well put. I like that.
Love it. Love it. So you're going to South Carolina next week to look for a house. When are you moving?
Today.
No, I'm going today.
It's going today.
Today. I don't know what the fuck. Anyway, you're going today. You're flying out to South Carolina. What's the target date for you getting this thing open?
So March 1 is the target date.
Woo, that's quick.
That'll be
very soon.
So we'll be open by the time this airs. So
this isn't going to air till March.
Probably we got quite a few in the can before. Maybe before. Who knows?
Before. But so what are you excited about moving out there for this gig?
I'm excited for the new opportunities, the knowledge that I'm going to get, the more people to impact, but there's not a lot of treatment in South Carolina in general, from what I've seen, from what I've looked up. So opening those doors in a new place, to reach more lives, and also just going on a new adventure. I've never really just flown away from where I've lived. I've always been within 2 hours of Nashville, everywhere that I've lived. So going somewhere new and learning more about myself and, creating new memories, seeing more of the world, and just making the best of it.
That's awesome. I'm excited to see you grow in this role, but can you give us a little rundown of what we can expect to see at Recovery Unplugged, South Carolina?
Yeah, so it's going to be a PHP IOP. We'll do
housing or no housing?
We'll do housing. So we're going to rent a few houses. From what I know, about 20-ish beds that will operate very similarly to Virginia, Florida, and Texas's PHP IOP as far as housing and food and clients being able to cook their own meals. And I'm really excited about PHP IOP is a very different world to me.
That's right. You don't have that in Nashville. So this is a totally new deal.
Yes. Which I had the opportunity last year to go to Virginia for about a week and help out there with operations for a little bit. So, I got I dropped a little marble into the ocean of PHP for about a week. But getting to take them on excursions and, do different things with them that we don't do in detox res.
So for somebody
excursions, that's a cruise word.
Yeah,
that's a cruise word. When you're on a cruise, you book your excursion.
For somebody who
I've never been on a cruise, actually.
I just went on my first one last year. It was fantastic.
They're great. Highly recommend.
So for somebody who doesn't know the language, PHP, IOP, all that stuff, can you break it down? Say you were talking to somebody's family member, right? Somebody's mom who's never sent their kid to treatment. What can they expect at Recovery Unplugged, South Carolina?
Absolutely. So PHP is partial hospitalization and IOP is intensive outpatient. So levels down from detox and residential. And I like to view it as kind of the next step back into the real world, with a little bit more, I hate to use the word freedom because I don't ever want this to sound like jail.
No freedom.
But more freedom, right? Like they typically get more access to phones. They're trusted more because of the coping skills and the therapy that they've been through in the higher levels of care, right? Like we've given them some tools. And so now they're stepping down to have a little bit more freedom, create more community, cook for themselves, do their own laundry, get to go out on passes and get to go for, field trips per se. Mm-hmm. And while still integrating themselves in therapy and a community that's still trying to do the same thing that they are and continuing to get healthy coping skills. And, while they're experiencing that new piece of freedom that they may have. They're still figuring out, okay, I have this, I'm going to have temptations within this, now that I can have my phone all night, opposed to having my phone for 15 minutes supervised, that they're going to experience. So then they still get those coping skills and, how do I handle these temptations? How do I, they still have the support opposed to just being alone and trying to figure it out.
What are you going to miss the most about Nashville? Besides my people, my friends, like, what are you going to miss the most besides that?
I haven't thought about that.
Great. You're going to make her start crying now, Joseph.
No. I don't know. I think my main thing is people, right? And a place that, this place feels like home. The Recovery Unplugged in general has been the first job that I've ever liked all of the people that I've worked with. That's been very rare.
All of them?
Restaurants and are there people that we bicker with or we, have disagreements, but we all act like adults and we talk it out and keep going, and work as a team at the end of the day. So I think, I know you said people is not the answer, but I think it is people.
True.
Because I can find a home in South Carolina. I can find experiences, a place to get my nails done, any random things that I would do in Nashville. But I think the missing piece of that is the people that I'm used to being around.
See, my head goes towards food.
I know it does. It always does. You must be getting lunchtime.
We were talking about maybe moving to Colorado, and I was like, man, but I wouldn't be able to go to Taco Palenque anymore to get my favorite.
Open one up. All right, so this is the part of the show.
Oh, is it that time?
It's that time.
It's rapid fire question time.
It's rapid fire question time.
Right.
Oh, I get to go first. All right. Okay. Ben and Jerry come to you and they say, hey, Amanda, we think you moving to South Carolina is so cool. You deserve your own custom Ben and Jerry's flavor. What do you want to put in the flavor of ice cream? And what would you call it?
Banana ice cream, caramel drizzle, and Reese peanut butter cups.
Ooh.
And
it would be called the Reese's Split.
Okay.
Nice. That's a good one.
I like it. All right. Supernatural experience.
God damn.
He hates this question. UFO, ghost, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster. Have you experienced any of them?
No.
See, it's a dud of a question.
It's not a dud of a question. You're a dud of a host.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding. That was harsh. I love you.
Never coming back here.
I was about to say, and Joseph never shows back up.
Right.
Never.
He'll be a
again.
ghost, and then he'll have his own supernatural experience.
Welcome to Bullshitology with Jason Cabello. Sorry. All right, Amanda, you're having a rough day. You need something to get you back in the game, get you motivated, get you pumped and ready to conquer the world. What music do you turn to?
Lil Wayne.
Ooh, what's your favorite mixtape?
I like the one where he takes other rappers' beats and freestyles on them.
Okay.
One.
Yes. I mean, all of them. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Buffalo Wild Wings comes calling. Amanda will double your salary to come back right now. What do you do?
Absolutely not. Money's not worth it.
There we go.
You get to go open a new Buffalo Wild Wings in South Carolina.
No.
Okay. Last question. Oh, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
If you ever feel like the smartest person in the room, you're wrong, because you're never going to know everything, and you can probably learn something from everyone standing around you.
Good one.
I like that.
Good one. Was that 5? That was 5.
That's 5.
That was 5. All right, Amanda, the last thing we do before we wrap things up is we give you the floor. You know,
Okay.
this podcast goes out in audio and video streaming in hundreds of websites, millions of people. You have the floor to kind of say whatever you want, leave a parting message, whatever.
Okay.
It better be profound.
I know. I'm trying to think of something very profound. No, I think if I could say anything, it'd be that
if you think you're the smartest person in the room.
you're not. No, I think whether you're in addiction or not, I think that it can have a huge impact on your life if you let it, and if you open your mind enough, just to understand other people and what they're going through. And it really, if you have the right perception, it can change the way you see the world, the way you feel about the world, the way that you envision the things that you have and the time that you have personally. And it's been really cool. I didn't think in a matter of 4 years that I would view the world differently. Since I was already an adult, I was like, I know what this looks like. But it's really changed my view. And for it being a job, I get to come in, do something different every day, learn something new every day, and leave an impact on people that may stick with them forever and may go in one ear and out the other. You never know, but I'm very blessed to have been coerced into working for Recovery. I couldn't imagine my life any different than what it currently is. And I'm very thankful that I was brought into behavioral health.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Always a pleasure to see you. I guess next time I see you will be in South Carolina. I can't wait to see what the place looks like and what we have in store.
Already angling for some travel on the work.
No, I've already been tasked.
Oh, look at you. Anyway, yes, as Jason said, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I'm sure you got a lot of stuff to do. You gotta be packing. You gotta get to that airport. Make sure you get that good boarding group.
Yeah, good luck with finding a home.
But thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing with our viewers. Thank you to you, our loyal listeners, whether you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or any of the other streaming platforms. We are grateful for you taking time out of your day to listen or watch us. And
we always say,
there's 1,000 ways in
and 1,000 ways out,
and we hope you find yours.
Thank you, Amanda.